Hello and welcome to another episode of Advanced WordPress Theme Development. In this video, we are going to show all of the terms related to a particular post just beneath them. So how do we do that? So in WordPress, we have a function available called WP get. So in WordPress, we have a function available called WP get post terms. Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll go inside of an entry footer, which should be used inside of WordPress the loop, because so that we can get the post ID. Okay, so we've already created this template. I've just added an empty div for now with the class name of entry-footer and a margin top. What we're going to do is we will say article terms, and then we're just going to call that function WP get post terms, and it takes certain parameters. The first parameter is the post ID, so I can get the post ID. The post ID equals get the ID. There is one thing to remember, that in WordPress, try to avoid you creating your own custom variables with the same name as what WordPress uses. For example, in WordPress, you have a variable called post. You can get that using global post. Okay, so do not create a variable like this, like post and then whatever value you want to put, because otherwise it's going to override the global variable. So avoid using that. Okay, so get the ID. This is going to get me the ID, so I'll use the post ID, comma, and then it's going to ask for taxonomies. What taxonomies do you want to use it from, right? So for the taxonomy, I can do array because I want multiple taxonomies. So I want from the categories and tags as well. So basically what I want is I want all of the posts that belongs to those categories and tags. So take a look at categories. So these are the categories available in the posts. You have 4 posts assigned to them. If you click on this, it tells you that there are 4 posts assigned to them. Similarly, for tags, you have for tags we don't have anything, so let's create a few. We can say like fiction. Okay, and then I'm going to assign it to some of the posts. So for example, to this post, I can do a quick edit. I can remove the uncategorized and I can just assign it to maybe adventure, and then island. I can select island, and in a tag we can use probably book, comma, so you can do a comma separated one, and then I can also add the fiction. So here you go, and then I can just update it. So basically I want all of these categories and all of these tags to be shown just beneath this post over here below the read more. And in order for me to do that, I'm using this WP get post terms function. So it's going to use the post ID of this post, of this one, and it's going to find out which are the categories and tags available. And how does it know that it needs to look for categories and tags? Well, you have to explicitly tell it by passing those taxonomies inside of the array. So how do we do that? So for categories, if I hover over it, so look at the left bottom corner of the screen. So you see a URL over there, and if you check after the question mark, it says taxonomy is equal to category. So that's how we get to know the taxonomy is category. So we'll put that category, and then I'll go to tags, and if I hover over it, notice looking at the left bottom corner of the screen, it says taxonomy equals post underscore tag. So that means that for tag, the taxonomy is called post tag. Okay, so it's got that. Do we have anything else? Yeah, then it asks you for the arguments. So what are the different arguments you can pass? So how do we know what arguments we can pass? Let's look at the definition of this function. You can search for this function into the WordPress core files, and for arguments it says that look at WP term query. So I'm going to go to WP includes. I'm going to search for it. There is an instantiation of this class, so I'm going to again search it, and I find the definition here. So there you go. So inside of the class dash wp dash term dash query, you can find all of these arguments. These are the arguments you can pass over here, right? So it gives you all of these arguments. Now if I go and check, in fact let me print this. So pre article terms, if you want you can echo it, it's up to you. Okay, there you go. So you have your adventure, you have book, you have fiction, and you have island. Are those the ones which are supposed to be there? Yes, you have 4 of them: adventure, island, book, and fiction. So you've got categories and tags both being displayed. This is basically an object. So you can see you have got term ID, you have got name, you've got slug, you've got the taxonomy name, this is category, count, like how many posts are there in that taxonomy. So you've got all of that information. Awesome, great. So all we have to do is just loop through it and then print those. So what we're going to do is we'll first check if not empty. So always check not empty and is array before looping through using for each. When using for each, so article terms and is array. In fact, I think if it's empty, it should return. It shouldn't even print this div. We don't want any empty HTMLs. So what we'll say is that if it's not empty, if it's empty, then return. And also if it's not array, return. Let this do this job over here itself. Let's not go any further. So if it's not an array and if it's empty or it's empty, then just return. So I'm just going to pass article terms here, and then we'll do for each because we already checked and for any errors if you may get. Article terms as key and then article term, and inside of this I can use a button HTML tag, and then inside of this I can have a class. I can give it bootstrap class btn and then border. I want to give some border to it, and border secondary. I want to give margin bottom of 20 pixels and margin right of 2 pixels, which are bootstrap classes. And even the border and border secondary are bootstrap classes. And then I'm going to have an anchor tag. Inside of this I want to get the term link so that when user clicks on it, it takes him to the archive page of that particular taxonomy and lists down all of the posts that are related to that particular taxonomy. Okay, so escape URL, get the term link, and then article term, okay, which is this, and then we should also give it the name. So we'll say echo escape HTML, and this will be article term, term, and notice I want the name. So name is here, this is the key of the name. So I'll say article term dash name. So I'm going to get the name value equals island and value equals adventure and so on and so forth. Okay, and let's give this a class as well. So I'm going to give a class of entry footer link and text black 50. Okay, it's a bootstrap class. Great, expect that I should have those being displayed. Awesome. So this is amazing. You can now see that we've got the adventure, the book, the fiction, the island, miscellaneous, technical. So I have all of the related taxonomies being displayed over here, including the categories and tags. Great, awesome. This is brilliant. And then also, let me just update this. Just one correction. This is not get the excerpt. This is get term link. I think it just got auto completed. So now if we click on one of these links, you'll notice that it takes me to the archive page, and now I'm only getting those posts that belong to that have the adventure set to them. Of course, they can have more taxonomies, but they all do have adventure in them. That's why you're getting all of the posts related to them. And currently, WordPress is using the index.php because using the template hierarchy. So you can see that if that is the category, so it looks for category archive page. If it doesn't find any of these, it just serves index.php. So in future tutorials, we're going to use archive.php files for that, and we'll create custom templates later on. But for now, this is good. So congratulations, we have successfully completed our post content, including the featured image, the title, posted on, excerpt, read more, taxonomies. And now in the next video, we're going to do the pagination of the posts. Okay, so I hope you did like the video. If you did, please give a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And do follow me on GitHub. My GitHub handle is imranhsayed and my Twitter handle is Codeytek. And I'm going to see you in the next video. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.